London was in one of its moods again, gray, damp, and humming softly under the weight of clouds. People rushed along the streets of Soho, umbrellas bobbing like jellyfish, heads down, coats tighter. But inside a small cafe on Greek Street, the world paused. Mira sat at the corner table by the window, stirring her coffee, watching people drift past like dreams she hadn't had yet. She had moved to London from Mumbai 8 months ago, chasing a publishing job and a quieter kind of life. The city hadn't exactly welcomed her. It was cold, expensive, and too fast, but she liked the mystery in its streets. There was always a story waiting behind fogged-up windows. Across from her, the seat was usually empty. She brought her notebook here every Saturday morning, hoping for inspiration, but often just ended up sketching strangers with her pen instead of words. Today was different. A man sat down across from her, without asking. Wet curls clung to his forehead, and his jacket dripped onto the floor. His cheeks were flushed with embarrassment. "Sorry," he said quickly. "There are no other seats. Just 5 minutes, if that's okay." Mira blinked. She was usually protective of her bubble, but something about his tone, genuine, apologetic, softened her. "All right," she said, gesturing slightly to the chair. He offered a smile that looked more grateful than charming. "I'll buy you another coffee to make up for it." She raised an eyebrow. "Only if you let me write about you." He looked startled, then intrigued. "Are you a journalist?" "Worse," she said. "Writer." He chuckled. "Deal." They didn't speak much after that. He sipped his coffee quietly, tapping his fingers on the cup. Mira scribbled in her notebook, pretending to write about other things, but sneaking glances at him. His name, she decided, was Jamie. He worked in music, maybe jazz. He had a complicated relationship with his mother. He once rescued a dog and kept it even though he wasn't supposed to. After a while, he stood. "Thanks for letting me sit," he said, and dropped a business card on the table. Jamie Bell, violinist. She smiled. She hadn't been far off. The next Saturday, he was back. This time, he asked before sitting. "I owe you that coffee," he said. Over the weeks, the cafe became a ritual. They learned little things. He lived in Camden, liked the rain, and hated marmalade. She liked silence but feared loneliness. He once played a solo at the Royal Albert Hall, and she once cried during a shampoo commercial. Neither of them said it out loud, but the air between them was starting to change. It was no longer just about shared tables and coffees. It was about the pause in her breath when she saw him walking toward the cafe, the way he waited for her stories like they mattered. One day, he brought his violin. "Can I play something for you?" he asked, shy all of a sudden. She nodded. The cafe hushed as the first note rose. The song wasn't famous. It was something he'd written himself. It was soft, a little sad, like London rain at midnight. Mira felt something open inside her, as if the city had finally exhaled. When he finished, she couldn't speak for a moment. "That was beautiful," she whispered. He looked at her like he wanted to say more, like he was waiting. She reached across the table and took his hand. Autumn gave way to winter. The city glittered with fairy lights and cold hands. They went walking along the Thames, past Tower Bridge, where he kissed her for the first time. It was awkward, honest, perfect. They started spending more nights together, some at her flat filled with books, some at his with sheet music scattered like fallen leaves. One night, snow fell softly outside as she read a short story to him in bed. He stopped her halfway through. "Mira," he said, "I think I'm falling in love with you." She smiled, the kind that filled the whole room. "Good," she said, "because I fell weeks ago." Years later, they still met every Saturday morning at the same cafe on Greek Street. Her book dedicated to J.B., the boy who sat without asking, was a quiet bestseller. His quartet toured Europe, but he always came home. London was still moody, still gray, but somehow it no longer felt cold. It felt like a page always turning, a note always playing, a love still unfolding. Because sometimes, all it takes is a shared table in the rain to find everything you didn't know you were missing.